We got all kinds of NBA free agency updates here for you on Chat Sports as we're live here in Dallas, Texas. It's about 7:50 p.m. Central Time on Friday night, the eve of, well, now the night of NBA free agency that started a little bit slow. And then all of a sudden, they said, oh no, Jimmy, we got you heated up. We got some moves to go for you. So let's get you updated on all the latest moves around the NBA. Starting off with the two Miami Heat deals in Goran Dragic and Meyers Leonard. Goran returns on a 2-year, $37 million deal. Meyers Leonard, on the other hand, 2 years, $20 million with a $10 million team option on the back half of that. You look at Goran Dragic, a 34-year-old point guard that was the leading scorer on this team in the playoffs, and then, of course, goes down the NBA Finals, and they lose him for a little bit. Now, Meyers Leonard, on the other hand, although you might be saying, Jimmy, that's an overpay. What are they doing? Meyers Leonard started a lot of games for this Miami Heat team, and he shot better than 41% from beyond the three-point arc. Maybe it's an overpay, but to keep your guys on a team that was in the NBA Finals, you might as well do it. My guy, Facundo Campazzo, out of Real Madrid, goes to the Denver Nuggets on a 2-year deal, and he will, I think, be the primary backup to Jamal Murray. He's an aggressive scorer, a great passer. He played with Luka Doncic at Real Madrid, and the Mavs and the Memphis Grizzlies had also shown interest in the past, but the Denver Nuggets are the team that lands him. I like this deal a lot. You're probably not paying him much money, so it's like, hey, why not? Another guy that is potentially returning to his team is Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets. Nothing official out of this one, but it is widely speculated that he will re-sign or that he is in the process of re-signing with the Brooklyn Nets. We don't have the details on that one yet as of Friday night at about 7:50 p.m. Central Time, but we'll get them to you as soon as we know something. And when we do know something, we'll bring it to you first here at Chat Sports. So make sure you subscribe to youtube.com/chatsportstv. Look, hey, I have to promise you, we're going to be live when stuff happens. We're going to be having all the breaking news when it happens. And we're going to have videos coming out every 3 hours, probably an even shorter time than that. So you're going to want to make sure you subscribe. Get us to 225K. We're well on our way. Didn't mean to rhyme, but hey, I did it. Now, another guy that signed tonight was Wesley Matthews, formerly of the Milwaukee Bucks, now goes to the Los Angeles Lakers on a 1-year, $3.6 million deal. One of my personal favorite signings of the night so far. It was a cheap deal. You might as well do it. He kind of replaces and does almost exactly what you had Danny Green doing for $12 million less. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of Wesley Matthews, go check out our Lakers channel at youtube.com/LakersTV. The San Antonio Spurs made a what move and Drew Eubanks with a 3-year deal. Didn't really understand that as he was on a 2-way contract. Didn't really know about that one. Dwyane Bacon, 2-year deal going to the Orlando Magic. I actually like this one a lot. I think it was a sneaky move because I think he will very much benefit from a change of scenery. Mason Plumlee was the first Detroit Piston domino to fall as he signed a 3-year deal to become probably the primary center there as a 30-year-old, but there's a lot of centers on this Detroit team now. We'll talk about more of them here in just a second, but Plumlee goes there as a good lob threat option. He finished 62% of his shots. I think Denver will really miss him, but luckily for them, they have guys like Bol in the mix. They have other guys now coming in Zeke Naji, who they just drafted out of Arizona, but I do think they'll miss Mason Plumlee. Detroit gets him on a deal that I didn't really understand because the Pistons are tanking at this point, so it's like, why would you go out and get Mason Plumlee? But they did it anyway, so I guess whatever. And then they went on to go and get more centers so far. So let me ask you this. What do you think has been the most surprising move of the offseason so far of this free agency? In all honesty, I would have said Detroit's their choices to sign a bunch of centers, but now I'm going to go Dwight Howard to the Philadelphia 76ers. What in the world happened there? And how did the Lakers just let that fall apart right in front of them? I have no idea, but we'll have more on that in just a second. Jahlil Okafor, the second Detroit Piston to sign for 2 years, $4 million. Why? I don't know. You tell me. Udonis Haslem, Miami retaining more of their players, and of course the man who will never age goes back, probably on a 1-year deal, but no details as of right now. Patrick Patterson goes back to the Clippers on a 1-year deal, and then one of my favorite moves of the night as well, Jordan Clarkson gets a 4-year, $52 million deal from the Utah Jazz. I'm a big fan of this move because they needed the scoring off the bench. He brought it to them in the bubble and the back half of the season, and now he returns to Utah on a pretty good deal for him, and I think a pretty solid deal for the Jazz as well. They also keep him away from teams like the Lakers and the Clippers, who were pursuing him as well in free agency. Clarkson averaged 15 points per game last season between his time with Utah and the Cleveland Cavaliers. A nice little career revitalization for Jordan Clarkson as he goes to the Utah Jazz. With this flurry of moves happening in free agency and all these players that are going to be traded, you're going to need a new jersey. From chatsports.com/NBA jerseys. Guys, holidays right around the corner. You want to get your NBA fan, the NBA fan in your life, a jersey? Do it at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/NBA jerseys has all the latest styles, all the latest names, all the latest teams readily available for you to go and pick up for 25% off for a limited time only. You get throwbacks like the Mavs or the Hawks have. You can get some classic jerseys like the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Anything you need, everything you want, they got it there at chatsports.com/NBA jerseys, where they also have jersey insurance ready for you in case your favorite player changes teams. Another Jazz move. This was back-to-back between Jordan Clarkson and Derrick Favors. Favors goes back to Utah after spending a couple years with the Pelicans on a 2-year, $30 million. Excuse me, not 2 years. It was actually a 3-year, $30 million deal. We'll get that updated for you here in just a second. 3 years, $30 million for Derrick Favors. He returns as the primary backup for Rudy Gobert. De'Aaron Fox, a guy who is not a free agent, but now remains a member of the Sacramento Kings for an even longer time, gets 5 years, $163 million that could potentially turn into the Supermax contract if he's in the league long enough, which he will be. Put up 21 points per game with the Kings last year. Great deal, honestly, for both the Kings and of course De'Aaron Fox as well. I'm a big fan of this move. I think he did the right thing, staying put and being able to build something in Sacramento, because now they do have a good young team with him, Tyrese Halliburton, Marvin Bagley, and even Robert Woodard and Jamias Ramsey as well. Josh Jackson, we're getting the details still on that. He is TBD, but he is going to the Detroit Pistons. But I want to turn my main focus here to Danilo Gallinari, who's going to the Atlanta Hawks on a 3-year, $61.5 million deal. Listen, Gallo got the bag. Good for him. But he was telling people he was going to take less money to go play for a contender. Guys, the Hawks are not a contender. They're not contending for anything except for another lottery piece. Now, I think they're trying to accelerate this rebuild a little bit, and maybe with Gallinari, and if they go out and get one more veteran player like a Gordon Hayward, maybe they could accelerate it a little bit. But, they have Onyeka Okongwu, they have Clint Capella, they have John Collins, Kevin Huerter, of course Trae Young, and Gallinari. They got to add some defense to this team, and I think it's on its way, but we'll see. So go ahead and grade that move for me for Danilo Gallinari to the Hawks. Is it A because he got a lot of money? Is it an F because he's going to a loser team? What is it? Go ahead and grade it in the comment section. Rodney Hood goes to the Portland Trailblazers. I should say returns to the Portland Trailblazers on a 2-year, $21 million deal. He's injured, or he was injured with an Achilles injury, but he returns to Portland as a backup. Malik Beasley gets a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves after being a restricted free agent. Good for him. He gets to stay there despite the legal troubles that he was going through. And it looks like we got some breaking news across the free agency wire that I did not know about in Christian Wood, but we'll come back to that as we talk about Dwight Howard going to the Philadelphia 76ers on a 1-year deal, it looks like. Doesn't go to the Lakers, goes to the Sixers, and is now the backup to Joel Embiid. Interesting move. I don't really understand it 100% on Dwight's part. I get it for the Sixers, who were reportedly showing interest in Nerlens Noel, who, by the way, I would watch Nerlens Noel to be a guy that the Lakers target now. But Dwight Howard goes to Philadelphia on a 1-year deal. Hey, good for him. He's sticking around the league. I think he could have gotten a little bit more money, I'm sure, somewhere else, but he goes somewhere where he can win and play an important role. Christian Wood going to the Houston Rockets. My producer's in the background springing this one on me. I didn't even know it happened, and it looks like he's signing with Houston. Not sure the details on that one, but we'll find out here in just a second. It's expected that he will go to the Rockets. Now, I love Christian Wood. I'm not sure what this means for Houston, though, because they're kind of a rebuilding team. Maybe this is part of the rebuild for them as they commit to a nice young player in Christian Wood, who had a breakout season with the Detroit Pistons once Blake Griffin got injured. And in the back half of the year, really proved himself as a solid player. And I think he will contribute to this Rockets team one way or another. They need a big man, and that is what Christian Wood becomes right away. He becomes the big man that is kind of versatile. He can be a bit of a playmaker. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He's a great defender and a really solid rebounder as well. And he gets paid a good amount of money now to stay with the Houston Rockets, or actually to go, to the Houston Rockets. Now, he has some familiarity with the Texas area of the region because he played summer league ball with the Dallas Mavericks, but now headed to Houston. So I like the move, but I haven't really been a great big fan of this free agency so far. It's been kind of slow. All of a sudden it picked up, but because of the slow first half, I'm giving this free agency a 5 so far. None of the big names have signed. We're getting a little bored here, guys. Let's pick it up, NBA. I think we're the ones that are keeping you the most entertained here at Chat Sports. So rate it for me, 1 to 10. How exciting has it been? What do you give it? Do you give it a 1? It hasn't really been exciting at all. Do you give it a 10? Everything has happened that you've ever imagined. Or is it a 5? You're kind of right in the middle, like, whatever. Rapid fire recap here for you of the guys that have signed. Goran Dragic and Meyers Leonard both returned to the Miami Heat on pretty nice deals. Facundo Campazzo out of Real Madrid goes to the Denver Nuggets. Joe Harris expected to re-sign with the Brooklyn Nets, but nothing official as of right now. Wesley Matthews headed to the Los Angeles Lakers on a 1-year, $3.6 million deal to kind of replace Danny Green. Drew Eubanks gets a 3-year deal from the San Antonio Spurs. Are you shrugging and asking who's that? Yeah, me too. Dwyane Bacon goes from the Charlotte Hornets now to the Orlando Magic, gets a fresh start on a 2-year deal. Mason Plumlee gets 3 years, $25 million from the Detroit Pistons, and then they followed that up with another center signing in Jahlil Okafor at 2 years, $4 million. Udonis Haslem, kind of more of a player coach at this point for the Miami Heat, is re-signing to stay there. Patrick Patterson gets a 1-year deal to return to the Clippers. And Jordan Clarkson at 4 years, $52 million will return as the primary sixth man for the Jazz. The Jazz went on to make another move as they picked up Derrick Favors on a 3-year, $30 million deal. He played there once, and now he's back. De'Aaron Fox, not a free agent, but he gets his big-time extension at 5 years, $163 million. Josh Jackson goes to the Detroit Pistons as kind of a project player on a deal to be announced. Gallinari, probably the biggest domino to fall so far at 3 years, $62 million to the Atlanta Hawks. And then the most recent moves that we've seen come across the waiver wire, Dwight Howard, 1-year deal to the Philadelphia 76ers. Rodney Hood on a 2-year, $21 million deal. Malik Beasley returns to the Minnesota Timberwolves on 4 years, $60 million. And Christian Wood, a 3-year, $27 million deal. A steal, in my opinion, for the Houston Rockets, as I am just now seeing these contract details come out. What's been your favorite signing so far? Let me know in the live chat and in the comment section. But what we got coming up for you right now, we're going to recap and re-loop everything that has happened already in free agency. And the second something happens, like we just saw with all those moves, trust me, I'm going to be right back here breaking it all down for you, answering any and all NBA free agency questions you got.